I'm Julia Green, and this is my informative speech on marijuana. So, who doesn't know someone who is obsessed with weed? The fascination and attraction to marijuana is undoubtedly a craze throughout our nation, and as more and more states legalize it, some have to wonder the effects it has in both negative and positive ways. A recent study found that over 50% of Americans have smoked weed at least once. I myself have never smoked, but I see its effects on my brother who smokes for recreational purposes and in a coworker who smokes for medical uses. In this speech, I'll be discussing the science behind what makes weed hallucinogenic and its effects on the body and economy / society. Let's begin with the science lesson. Your body naturally contains endocannabinoids. This is actually what manages the way your body manages pain. When you inhale or ingest cannabis, the cannabinoids from the marijuana directly interact with your natural cannabinoid system. This is what makes marijuana such an effective way to manage pain. THC is one of the more known chemicals in marijuana, and THC is an cannabinoid. THC is what is responsible for that high feeling you get when you smoke or eat edibles. The THC hits your lungs when you smoke it, connecting with the alveoli air sacs, who quickly absorb it. This is the reason many smokers get the high effect quicker than those who eat edibles, because it has a longer path to travel through where the lungs is really connects quicker to the brain. CBD is an up-and-coming non-hallucinogenic treatment that is found in marijuana as well. This chemical has calming effects that decrease mental activity when isolated, help treat anxiety in some users. A study published in 2017 found that the use of CBD resulted in far fewer seizures among children with Dravet syndrome, and many people believe that it may also help those with epilepsy, arthritis, inflammation, and even Parkinson's disease with their symptoms. This chemical is legal when isolated and is already being sold throughout the United States already. So CBD is already generating this great GDP, so some wonder why America hasn't jumped on board and legalized marijuana for profit, Just as the tobacco industry is a huge source of income for America, why not add marijuana on top of that? So, as you're probably aware, there are 11 states who have legalized weed for recreational and medical uses, and another 21 on top of that for just medical reasons. In Colorado and Washington were states in which weed is legal for both. Sales in marijuana over the past several years have resulted in a buoyant tax revenue. In 2015, Colorado alone collected more than $135 million in taxes and fees on medical and recreational marijuana. Comparatively, tobacco brought in $315 million that same year for Colorado. However, some resistance towards the marijuana movement is safety laws, specifically concerning driving. The estimated cost for DUIs with people who tested positive for only marijuana in 2016 approached $25 million, while alcohol-related DUIs average $132 billion a year in the U.S. Other concerns are about society and the people who smoke themselves. Some worry about drug abuse and weed being a gateway drug for more harsher and illicit substances. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse in June 2015, use of marijuana has increased since 2013, once being at 5.7% of Americans aged 12 and up to 7.5% in 2015. By that, we see that legalization does increase the number of users. However, the chemicals found in weed are non-addictive, but in extreme cases, smokers develop a sort of dependency on marijuana called marijuana use disorder. Smokers under the age of 18 are at a higher risk for developing this disorder, though again, gotta reinstate, THC and CBD are non-addictive. So this disorder is not an addiction, but a dependency. As for being a gateway drug, researchers have found that those who smoke weed are at a greater risk for developing alcoholism. And those who already are alcoholics and smoke weed, you see that their condition worsens. This being said, research has also shown that smoking weed is not more or less likely to lead to more illicit drugs, and crossing drugs with alcohol is not unique to weed. Lastly, let's cover the effects on the body. We all have heard how bad smoking cigarettes are for our lungs, but that really goes for all smoke, even firewood smoke. Those who smoke weed regularly are at an increased risk for bronchitis and lung infections. On the bright side, according to the CDC website on January 18, 2018, cannabis-based products were shown to improve symptoms for adults with multiple sclerosis-related muscle spasms. And according to Medical News Today on November 13, 2018, mice with Alzheimer's disease showed memory improvements and a lot less brain cells lost when treated with THC, which perhaps may be a sort of therapy treatment for humans later on. There are a lot of pros and cons to weed and legalizing it. Marijuana has the potential to become a dependency for those who smoke, but also healing and relaxing properties that may help users. Weed also may boost economic growth in the United States, but some worry about the social impact. You just really have to consider both pros and cons to your own body and developing an opinion on it. So just remember that next time you visit your friend Mary Jane.